Is your character strong enough to take you the way when someone may be beating you with a whip on your back? What does it mean to be a man? This is something that's talked about so much in our society. You see people like, David Goggins. You're not a man unless you can run a certain distance and not stop. You're not a man unless you have your own iron gym and you work out every single day. But what if I were to tell you that Christ has a different perspective on things? You see, in the Word of God, 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13 and 14 says, "Be on guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong, and do everything with love." Doing everything with love. When you learn about what love is, honestly, love really is not just a feeling. We know love is an action if you've watched our previous videos, and we break that down for you. But because love is an action, that means it's not something that you do to yourself, but rather you give and share to others. The same reason why there's a Trinity, because God is a God of love. He needs to give and share his love, which is why he has his Son and his Spirit. But the thing about doing everything in love, like I said, is that it has to be done to others. So yes, we are to be strong, but we are to be strong to and for others. Yes, we are to be courageous, but not only for ourselves, but on other people's behalf. And yes, we are to be on guard. But we are to be on guard so not only ourselves will be saved, but to inform others of the snares of the fowler and from the noise and pestilence that is talked about in Psalms 91. And you see, the world will try to tell you as a young man to try to build up some sort of fame, power, and riches for yourself. They'll tell you to buy these fancy cars and then you'll be satisfied. Buy this big mansion and then you'll be content. Do all of these side hustles and eventually you'll get it right and you'll get this feeling of joy. But this is not what God describes to us in his word. It says to do these things in love, which is meaning to do these things for others. And if you see the people in the world that are claiming to be the men that are there for you versus the ones that really did inspire us in the Bible, the clear difference between them is community. You can see clearly Moses had his brother Aaron. Jesus had his disciples. The people that were the most influential in the Bible, that were men, had a community. Jesus himself had one, and he understood this concept because manhood is something that is to be shared and to be grown. They're going to try to tell you to go undercover for 6 months and just kind of try to figure it out, and then you come back bigger, stronger, with more success. But to that I would say, why hibernate when you can ask for advice from others? Manhood goes beyond just trying to do things on your own. Manhood extends beyond that because when push comes to shove and when we're dealing with these strange and strong issues in our lives, there's going to be moments where we're going to have to stand. Stand for the right and stand for truth. Even in our country today, we see that. With this new elected president, everyone may have their own personal opinions, but as we get closer to the end of time, there will be moments where it doesn't matter how much you deadlift. It doesn't matter how much you bench press. It doesn't matter how much you squat. It doesn't matter how many cars you have. It's your character. Is your character strong enough to stand when there's a gun pointed to your head? Is your character strong enough to take you the way when someone may be beating you with a whip on your back? Is your character strong enough to say, "I will not yield even though you have no food"? Is your character strong enough to say that I will give others what I have despite it maybe being less for me? The Bible defines manhood in a different way, not storing up treasures for yourself, letting them just spoil and rotten and die with you, but learning to give to other people. When you have a center of community around you, it grows you faster. If you know the African proverb, if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. And through this, you can clearly see that oftentimes people want to expedite the process of getting older. They see other people that are on social media that are doing things the right way, quote unquote, and have everything that they think they really want, which is causing 13, 14, 15-year-old kids to act like 20, 21, and 22-year-olds, doing the certain things that they are, but then also comparing themselves, which is causing issues and stunting their growth, thinking that it's actually growing them. But the reality is, manhood also is being able to acknowledge that in the present, God made me who I want to be. It's not about being independent. It's about growing more dependent on God. That's what it means to be a true man of God. And if you really want to know why this is such a big issue, if you look at Ellen White's quote, she clearly says, "The greatest want of the world is the want of men. Men who will not be bought or sold. Men who in their inmost souls are true and honest. Men who do not fear to call sin by its right name. Men whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle to the pole. Men who will stand for the right, though the heavens fall." And she goes on to say that this is not a process of something that will just happen automatically. It takes time, it takes discipline, and it takes focus. But so many people are so caught up in the external growth of their life that they are neglecting the internal, not realizing that the growth internally by submitting to God is what informs the external portions of our life. Now, this isn't to say that you will get everything you want, but naturally when you seek God first, He'll give you everything that you need. And that's the beauty of the Christian walk. Because when we are trying to practice manhood, we're actually just practicing godliness. In the same way that you'd be practicing womanhood, practicing godliness. Because man and woman together perfectly complement the character of God. But again, manliness is not something that is independent on its own, but learning to rather grow and become more dependent upon God. And through this, we will have true strength and true power. And of course, yes, it says to be strong, but that means that we should be strong not for ourselves, but also for others. And it says to be courageous, but again, not courageous for ourselves, but on behalf of other people. To be able to stand firm in our faith, because when others are looking to us to see how we'll react, they'll see that we will stand strong and that we will not yield. That is what it means to practice manhood for Christ. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it touched your heart, although specifically for the young man. I hope that you could still have gotten something from it. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you again, like, subscribe, feel free to share with a friend. Let's continue to grow on this journey for His cause and in His name. Peace.